In a polarized world where journalism is being questioned, free thinking, independent thinking also being questioned, I'm being joined by a personality who's been known across the world for his independent thinking, from American prime time to now being a part of an independent global platform, his own. At that, he has commanded the views and the opinions of people across the globe. He's influenced views and opinions across the globe and has also received the fiercest kind of criticism. I'm being joined by Tucker Carlson, and with me to have a conversation with Tucker is my colleague Marya Shakil. Tucker, thank you so much for doing this for the network.
The fiercest criticism.
Fiercest criticism. We will talk about that, but how do you look at this new environment, new age of journalism, new age of geopolitics, new age of politics itself? You come from America, everything's changing by the hour, where journalism is being questioned.
Well, I see it as all connected. I don't think you can disconnect journalism from the system of government, from the monetary system. All of it was kind of laid in place at the end of World War II, the fabled post-war order, and journalism was the propaganda department for that. And that whole system is changing. Every part of that system is changing in real time, very, very, very quickly. And so, of course, you're going to need a new structure, a new set of institutions to describe what you're seeing. You can't use the old ones because they're too vested in the old system and they lie. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that you see a whole new media landscape, which there's good and there's bad, but basically it's necessary in order to chronicle what we're living through.
The old school journalism, or should I say the mantra of journalism, is see it, say it. What you're seeing, you have to say it, right? You've often said that mainstream media lies.
Yes.
Then how is that different from those who have taken to YouTube or other platforms, who will be seen as perhaps influencers, also looking at a part of their own ideology? They are also catering to an ecosystem.
Well, for sure. I mean, first of all, people lie at every time in every age because people are flawed, and dishonesty is a kind of default for people, and you have to fight against that impulse. But I think what we're seeing structurally is a change in the following way. The media, at least in the West, was designed from the end of the Second World War to bolster, to protect, to perform a wall around, a hedge around the people in power, defend the system, defend the Federal Reserve, defend the Congress, defend the executive, defend the CIA, defend the U.S. military, defend NATO, whatever structures defined the society, and it was mostly the ones I just mentioned. And all of those structures are undergoing massive changes, and so you can't rely on like a regime media outlet like NBC News, which was I used to work there, it was a big U.S. news organization, to describe what you're watching now, because they can't tell the truth about it. They work for those institutions.
But then are you speaking truth to power?
I'm trying. You try your best. There are certain things, and I think anyone in this business knows, there are certain moments where you're thinking, what's the penalty for telling the truth in this case? There's never a penalty for lying. No one is ever punished for lying. It's telling the truth about something that can get you put in jail or killed. So, it's a test of your courage, but you try to, for sure.
But Tucker, I followed your journalism. I followed what you did when you were in Fox, and everybody said, the fiercest criticism that we were talking about, and everybody said you are anti-establishment because you were questioning the Biden administration. But lo and behold, you have also questioned policies of the Trump administration on Russia, on Israel and Gaza. Didn't imagine that really happened, but you're questioning government policies where it matters the most.
Of course. I question my own judgments. I mean, no one is above being questioned. And by the way, questioning something or disagreeing with something is not an attack. I don't like your opinion. It's not the same as I hate you.
That's true.
At all. I love Trump. I campaign for Trump. I don't agree with this administration's Israel policy. I think it's terrible for the United States. It's terrible for the world. But it doesn't mean I don't love Trump. I do. I mean, that's okay. I have a huge family. These are the conversations that we have at our house every day. But I think to the extent that you can, and it's not always easy, but you want to push yourself to tell the truth about the things that matter. I don't have to tell the whole truth about everything. I don't have to say, your shoes are ugly. I don't need to say that.
But what about Trump's weaponization of tariffs? The fact that he's using tariffs, do you think it's in America's interests? Because we have seen many deals come through, including the India-US trade deal.
So I've tried to be honest about this. You know, tariffs haven't been used in the United States in many, many generations, and I can be boring, I won't, but in one sentence, the entire sort of American understanding of tariffs among professional economists is they're bad. And then Trump, kind of out of nowhere, he promised to do this, but he actually did it earlier this year, announced Liberation Day, we're going to use tariffs both to raise money for the U.S. Treasury, but also as a tool of diplomacy. And I think the jury's out. I don't think we know. I want it to work because I'm an American. I think we'll know in, maybe 100 years whether it worked. But I want it to, I'll tell you that.
But the nature of punitive tariffs that were imposed on India, 25% only because India chose to deal with and maintain its relationship with Russia.
Well, as I've said many, many times, and I mean it, I think the United States, our foreign policy establishment has been very foolish and has hurt the United States very badly by trying to isolate Russia. They haven't isolated Russia. They've just driven Russia to China into a close relationship with India and this region, the Middle East. It's been terrible for the United States. So I'm strongly in favor of engaging with Russia as soon as possible on a deep level. So there's that. But I would also say what you already know, since you're from a country in which people negotiate when they buy things, that there's an opening bid and there's the real bid.
That's true.
Of course. So I came in and it's 100% tariff, and then we kind of talk through what we each want. And
Which is what Trump has done.
Exactly.
Which is what Trump has done. Okay. It's a rare thing. We have two people over here sitting who have actually interviewed the Russian president.
Yes.
Tucker did it 8 months before we did it. We did it at the end of the year. It was a fantastic end for the India Today network because we ended with a bang. No interview gets bigger than Putin. There are a lot of misconceptions, Tucker, when it comes to President Putin, when it comes to how Russia is dealing with the world, and why Russia is dealing in the way it is dealing with the world. What was your opinion of Putin? What were the big key takeaways? I have seen a bit of what you said, but tell our viewers.
I mean, my standard for leadership is the same, whether I'm assessing a father or a general in a military or the president of a country. How are your people doing? Putin is very easy to judge because he's been there for 26 years. He's one of the longest serving. He's the longest serving leader of a big country by far. And Russia is, by every single measure, in infinitely better shape now than it was 26 years ago. Russia has also managed, and this is a question for all of us who live in countries with diverse populations, including India, he's managed this population that's 20% Muslim. 20% Muslim.
Not many people know that.
And it's the largest country in the world.
That's right.
And spread across like 11 time zones or something, and he's kept that country unified. He had 2 wars against Chechnya within his borders. It's a Muslim republic. He's now close to the Chechen leaders.
Yes.
He is a cohesive, multiracial, multireligious society. How do you do that? That is the most impressive feat he has achieved. Our leaders have not done that. So I admire that. And so before any other consideration of Putin, I ask, how did you do that? I have to, whether I like him or not, agree with him or not, I have to tip my hat in respect, and I'm willing to. I'm happy to.
He gave you a 40-minute lesson.
and he gave
on
100
Russian
minutes to you,
history.
Geeta.
Yeah, 100 minutes to me, but 3 hours to him, of which 40 minutes, the first 40 minutes were just history of Russia.
It was so interesting. I was a little bit confused at first. It's hard to overstate how ignorant I am, but I learned how ignorant I was.
Tucker, because, both of you have interviewed one of the most mysterious, should I say, world leaders, that is Vladimir Putin. This kind of unparalleled access that you have had with presidents, with billionaires, many would say that, is that really not in sync with your independent thinking? And how important is it for you to sit across with these leaders to know their minds?
Well, I think it's essential. And I have many more conversations off camera than I have on camera because I think you learn a lot. I just recently had a meal with someone who runs a country and there were no cameras. I didn't want cameras. I just want to understand how the world is changing. We're living in the middle of a total transformation of the world on every level. And we just happen to be born at a time when we can see this. And I want to understand it. That's my number one goal. I want to understand it. so I can tell people what's going on, and so I can tell my family, and so I can know. And so it's essential to talk to people. And I actually find the least interesting conversations are the ones that are televised, because everyone is on guard. But if you're talking to someone with no one around and they can tell you the truth, it's amazing. You can really understand, but you cannot understand anything by reading social media all day. You have to get out. And we're so blessed because we're paid to do it.
Many would say that's access journalism.
I don't know what that, I mean, I want as much access as I can get because I want as much understanding as I can get, and I want to be as honest as I can about what I learn.
If you're not gaining out of that access, then it's informed journalism to me. Because,
I've never taken a dollar from anybody.
Then it's informed journalism, because unless and until you have access and you're engaging somebody, you're getting your information out.
We had a funny conversation this was recent. Somebody said one of my producers was setting up an interview or a meal with someone, and the person's assistant, this is a powerful person, said, "I don't think we can afford to pay." And my producer goes, "We're not, we don't take any money. We're not here for money. We just want to know what's going on." I do think there are a lot of people who take money, and I think they discredit our business. I don't think you should take money. I understand everyone needs money, but I think if you take money, you should admit you took money.
Yes.
Don't lie. Lying is the one thing we're not allowed to do.
So among all the leaders that you have interviewed, who do you think came across as perhaps most direct and honest?
Well, that would be off camera. I mean, there are a couple of them I know pretty well who are so smart, and I wish they were Western leaders, but they're not. And I grieve. I am very Western. I mean, my ancestors are from Europe. I live in the United States. I'm never leaving. I'm not from the global South. I'm from the global far North. Okay, so that's just who I am. And I wish we had great leaders. And we have had a lot of great leaders in the past. William the Conqueror was a great leader. But we don't have a lot of them right now. And you go to some of these other countries, particularly in this region right here, the Middle East or India, whether you like Modi or not, Modi's impressive. Nobody doubts that.
So let's talk about Prime Minister Modi. The India-US deal has been cracked, finally, after a lot of tensions and stress. Do you think...
Did you ever doubt that?
I thought it will take a little while longer than a sudden announcement that happened when we were here in Dubai last night. And suddenly the two leaders spoke. Then he posted... So the two leaders spoke, and Trump posted a pic of the India Today cover, the magazine cover, and the entire industry, TV, news industry, as also business industry, was abuzz. What's happening? Why this post? And then 10 minutes later, the announcement of a trade deal.
Of course.
So,
and the cover was...
there was going to be a trade deal.
Yeah. But do you think that changes a lot of how America is going to deal with China, with Russia, and with Europe particularly, given the Russia-Ukraine war?
I really think it's, as I've said, it's in the... first of all, you've got to have a deal with Russia, with China and India. I mean, that's global commerce, so that's going to happen, and hopefully on terms favorable to everybody. Fair to everybody, or as fair as you can get in a negotiation.
How is it fair? He said zero oil from Russia. How's that fair, Tucker?
It's absurd. It's
Isn't
absurd.
it?
Why would the United States be at war with Russia?
Why?
And why should United
States and they're engaging
even dictate?
Russia. Okay. They're engaging Russia in Abu Dhabi tomorrow.
Joe Biden started a war with Russia. He wanted a war with Russia. I have no idea why. But as an American, I can say we derive nothing from that. It has hurt the United States. It's hurt the U.S. dollar. The sanctions have very much hurt the U.S. dollar. People are running from the U.S. dollar because it's been politicized. It's politicized by Biden with these absurd sanctions. Sanctions have never helped the United States a single time. They've only hurt weak people, not helped us. So I just don't understand why so many of our, and I don't think Donald Trump feels this way. I know he doesn't. I've talked to him about it. But so many of our policymakers assume we have to be at war with Russia. And it's crazy. And it does not help the United States. I just want to say that for the 50th time. And they'll attack. Why are you Putin puppet? I'm not a... I'm from California. I'm not a Putin puppet.
And Tucker, just to take that thought ahead, Geeta, United States also can't dictate India about what should be its sovereign right to purchase oil from Russia.
Of course not. And unfortunately, by the way, things change very quickly, but people's understanding of reality changes a little more slowly.
Yes.
Right? So there are emerging powers that they're not even emerging anymore. They just emerged. They are great powers. India is now a great power. And China, of course, is a great power. Russia is a great power. And I do think it takes people, not just Americans, but Europeans and everybody, a minute to sort of readjust. Like, this is not the India that we visited 25 years. This is a completely different country. And this is not a country to whom you can dictate terms. You're not in charge, actually. So you negotiate terms.
Okay, so let's talk about Prime Minister Modi.
Do you have to, if you have children, can I say one thing? If you have children, it's like they grow up and all of a sudden you realize, like, I can't tell them what to do. That he could beat me up if he wanted.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Prime Minister Modi.
Your take.
Well, I very much hate to sort of weigh in on the politics of another country.
Do you want to make a pitch?
You
did it on camera.
Complex.
You want to make a pitch?
He's clearly an amazing person. Amazing. I've always wanted to interview him, and
There you go.
I hope I do sometime.
Okay.
There's a lot I don't understand, but I mean, can I say one thing? I was talking to my business partner recently about this. It's like we're living in a moment with historical leadership. Modi, Putin, MBS, MBZ, actually, Trump. I mean, these are, Erdogan. I mean, these are people books will be written about, are being written about. Most people don't live in a time like that. They live in a time with like 100 Keir Starmers.
Yeah.
No one will remember his name next week. Who was that guy?
He's saying that, okay?
Keir Starmer's a joke. I mean, is he even a real person? You can sort of see the strings. But Modi is a real person. Erdogan's real. Putin's a real person. Trump's a real person. And I just think Modi's particularly, there's something amazing about him. So I would like to interview him very much.
Okay, so, the Prime Minister's office watches India Today very, very closely.
Yes.
We are the biggest network there is.
I know.
So they will be watching this. And you never know, your team could just get a call.
I hope so.
Having said that, Marya, go ahead.
Yes. So to all those who, because you're one of the most influential global voices, you're also one of those who young journalists admire and perhaps see you as a role model. What will you be telling them? What is propaganda? What is journalism now?
Just try to tell the truth. It's hard. Just try to be honest about what you see and what you think it means. It's not complicated at all. It's just difficult, especially when you're younger because there's so much economic pressure on you. I've been fired from so many jobs, so I know this.
How many jobs?
Oh, a lot.
Quite a few.
I'm not that good at math, but
Yeah.
a number of jobs. And you can kind of feel, you work at a TV network. There are certain things that you sort of know you're not supposed to say, and no one tells you, but you kind of know.
Yeah.
And
Self-censorship.
self-censorship. And I would
That's
always
what
get
it's
too
called,
close to the line,
Tucker.
and then bam, you get fired. And if you have kids at home like I always had, I understand. Like, you don't have to say everything. But try your hardest to say as much as you can that's true. And do not lie. If your boss says you must lie about something, no, I'm not doing
Can I
that.
flip that question?
Yes, you can.
So there has been a lot of criticism about you and your
Oh, a
journalism
lot.
too.
Oh, yes.
Did you ever feel like
Very bad.
you were a part or you were bracketed as propaganda journalist because
Oh,
you
yeah.
questioned establishment? Back then it was Biden and supported Trump.
Well, I've been attacked in many different ways. And I think some of the criticism of me has been fair. I think I've gotten mad too often and overstated the case. Rather than I disagree with you, it's like you're evil. And just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean he's evil. And I feel bad about saying that. I supported the Iraq War. That was a disaster. I'm really sorry that I did that. I've made a lot of mistakes.
Not many journalists would say that though.
Well, I mean it. Well, I did it. By the way, you can look it up if you want.
I
Please
have.
don't. But no, I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm 56, but you should admit your mistakes, be honest about them, and I think people understand. But you'll never believe anybody who won't admit a mistake. You have no credibility if you won't admit a mistake. Because what you're telling me is, I'm God. I'm the one infallible being in the universe. And I kind of know that's not true.
Is Trump making a... Sorry.
Okay, please go ahead.
Is Trump making a mistake with Venezuela or with Iran? The two very different
Very,
subjects.
very different.
Take
Well,
them one at a
Venezuela,
time.
amazing. So my instinct is always against foreign intervention. Always. Just because I covered the Iraq War and I'm still upset about it. In the case of Venezuela, he removed Maduro but kept in place Maduro's government for the sake of stability. Now, if that holds, I think we'll have to say that's a lot better than I ever imagined. I was wrong again. That actually kind of worked. Iran, Trump has not initiated a regime change war in Iran. The consequences of attempting that are profound. I think it's impossible to imagine a Venezuela-type situation where you snatch the Ayatollah and Khomeini's gone and the country...
We're sitting in West Asia, in the Middle East.
Oh.
It'll boil, it'll burn.
Well, there's the energy infrastructure in the Gulf, which feeds the global, which is critical to the global economy, is vulnerable. I mean, I know it's defended and everything, but I mean, if you took out big refineries, big production facilities, I mean, you could wind up in a global depression. I'm not saying that would happen. I'm saying it could happen. And so the consequences of that intervention are very, very serious. And of course, there's no appetite for that in the United States. This would be done purely at the behest of Israel. And Trump has not done that. I'm so grateful that he hasn't. But in general, large countries should not take orders from tiny little countries. I just think why would you do that? You know, Israel has 9 million people. We have 350 million people. Why would we take orders from you? I mean, happy to be friends with you, but I'm not going to fight your wars for you. We've done that before. Not going to do it again. Right? Would you take orders from a country of 9 million people?
Is Trump taking orders?
No, he's not. He hasn't done it, and I'm so grateful that he hasn't. But I'm just saying in general, and I'm not speaking simply of Trump, but of the U.S. Congress or any American policymaker or any Indian policymaker, Pakistani policymaker, any policymaker, you should make decisions on behalf of your own population as a father makes decisions on behalf of his own children. It's really that simple. That's the model of leadership, is paternal leadership. The father will die for his children. He does what's best for his children. That is true for heads of state as much as it is for heads of household.
Has social media changed the rules of journalism?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what the rules are.
Or how journalism is being done.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yes, in every possible way. And I've already admitted how old I am, like elderly.
Yeah.
Right on the brink of death. I'm that old. That to me, it's not something I grew up with at all. I was only fired less than 3 years ago from a television network. So this is all very new. But I'm amazed by it. And I think there are all kinds of great things about it. I think there are bad things about it. I would just say in general, I mean, I think there are wonderful things about it. You could bring down a government with it, though. There's no doubt about that. If I were a head of state, I'd want to control social media because you could just topple the state with it. So
among all the platforms, which one is your favorite now? Instagram,
well,
YouTube,
I'm American and I'm a man, so I'm probably not going to look at pictures of people's vacations because that's just not my thing. So it'd be X. But I find it addictive, much more than cigarettes. I've been able to control my cigarette smoking. And I do think, if I'm being totally honest, I just want to make a pitch for cigarette smoking, which is bad. I still think it's healthier than spending all day on social media. If one of my kids said, I'm going to smoke 10 cigarettes a day or spend 10 hours on social media, I would say, here's a lighter.
No, you'd say make it 2, not 10.
So on Elon Musk, since you spoke about X.
I love Elon Musk. He's an amazing person and has been so kind to us. I'm not attacking, look, I'm so grateful we have social media. I work on social media. My job is on social media. I'm for it. I'm for cigarettes, by the way, also too. But don't smoke 20. Smoke 2. Like, moderation is a good thing. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And AI? Final question.
I don't know that...
Because we're here at the World Government Summit, live from Dubai. And that's one very important conversation that's going on over here. Not just AI, but AI regulation. We have presidents putting out AI videos. So how much of a regulation is good enough and enough?
I mean, the goal of regulation of AI, first of all, it needs to be international, right? You can't have it regulated by country. It just doesn't work. Has to be to keep AI from becoming autonomous and issuing orders to the global population. You don't want AI to become a monster. The machine can't rule the man, period. But governments, being what they are, will use the regulation to make sure that AI lies to their population about what they're doing. It'll become another propaganda device. And I'm very worried about that. And in fact, AI use Google AI, type in a question to which I know the answer, and it lies to me. And I'm thinking, what? This is just more propaganda. So I hope that we can keep it as open as we possibly can. We can keep biometrics at bay as long as we can. That's coming. And that we can remain free as long as we can. But I'm concerned about it. Aren't you?
I am.
The
Are you going to take orders from it?
Not at all. Concerned.
We have seen
but
those conversations on Grok in particular. I mean, every time there are a lot of pictures that are put out.
Concerns about pornography.
Yes,
So yes, there are concerns.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
There are
Pornography
people.
is poison.
Yes.
I guess they still say that in India. In the United States, that's incredibly controversial.
Yeah.
Oh, what's wrong with you? You don't like pornography? No, pornography is terrible.
It's terrible.
It is terrible. Thank you.
Yes.
It's terrible. That's Tucker Carlson for you. Completely open to anything and everything. It's a candid conversation. Catch
Unfiltered.
It, unfiltered. Catch it on India Today. Thank you so much,
That was
Tucker,
the best.
for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for saying that about pornography.
Thank you. Thank you.